hopes of having you help deal with those initial pushes. I do lose 1.5 mutas, but it's not that big of a deal, to be perfectly honest. 1.5 mutas isn't going to do too much. So I'm breaking down these rocks. I still am just droning up like crazy. Now I'm going to go back to my view real quick. I'm going to have my lings over here. And I believe I do actually see this tank. I know he has a barracks right here. So I almost guarantee that he has an expo up. And I do see a tank. So now I know he's going marine tank. I know that's what he's doing. And that makes me feel much more comfortable dealing with what I have to do. Now if he had just like a whole bunch more Hellions, I'm guessing it was probably going to go like some sort of heavy mech build, and I definitely would not be getting out so many mutas. I'd probably spend more on roaches. Now I am going to go ahead and grab this third. I did not choose to grab this quick third simply because he didn't grab a quick expo. He did a simple reactor Hellion FE, which is not that crucial. It is not going to be that big. It's not going to be like like a 1 Rax FE or anything like that. So I am getting out more links simply because my third has not gone down yet, and so I'm just going to keep getting more and more units. I am starting baneling speed, and as soon as my layer finished, I did get my spire going. I have all 4 of my gases running. I have bases fully saturated. I am sitting at 47 drones. And as you can see, I'm just saving up gas right now. I'm getting more overlords so I don't get supply blocked when I build up all those mutas. Admittedly, my crew spread could be a little bit better right now. It is not gone. I did not get that early third queen like I should have. I know that now, but you know what they say about hindsight. Now he is sending these 2 marines around. So what I don't want him to do is to take all of these lings and then have complete control of the Zonongo watchtowers, because very often Terran will push out with 2 or so marines, take out each Zonongo watchtower, and then push. That way you don't see it coming right away. So I am going to make an immediate move to retake the Zonongo watchtower so I know when it's coming. And as you can see, he is going super heavy tank. Now, I've heard people say before that it's a good idea to go ahead and get 3 bases fully saturated and just use lings and banelings to go ahead and hold off any sort of early pushes, and then you start getting the mutas. I'm going to choose to disagree with that, just simply because with the Terran I've realized that we started doing this. So as a result, they're getting a lot more tanks. As you can see, he already has 7 tanks. Now those 7 tanks against Ling Baneling early on are just going to do just so much damage, and it's going to be very difficult to address, especially if he has good spread. As you can see, he is moving out right now. I do have my 9 mutas on the way. I am trying to get some banelings, especially now after that I see him moving out. You don't want to just get lings and mutas to deal with tank marine. You're going to want banelings, and that's why I'm getting the banelings, is because they help deal with the marine. Because once the marines die, my mutas can just go to town on the tanks, and I don't really need to worry about it. So he's pushing across the map. I am trying to morph more banelings. I am going to wait for these banelings to finish. My creep spread once again could be much better. I could have engaged him right here if I wanted to. He is going ahead and he is sieging up quite well. And so now I'm going to choose to engage. I want to make sure that my banelings blow up on his marines. As you can see, I am taking out a pretty decent amount of his marines, and now he doesn't have enough to hold off the mutas. Push Pete. Now, if I didn't have mutas, that push probably would have been much harder to hold off, but I could have just gotten more and more lings. But the mutas, once again, allow me to control drops. They allow me to deal with heavy tank pushes. So I've dealt with that. I am getting some more lings just because I'm afraid of him being able to go ahead and remax and just doing continuous 2-base pushes forever and ever and ever. So I am getting up more lings. I am going to keep droning. My +1 on the air is almost done. I am going to drop 2 Evo chambers because I have no upgrades as of yet for my ground armor. There is still 0-0. And he is just starting his +1. He's getting combat shields. As you can see, he's doing quite a bit. He's getting ready to take a third. He is knocking down those rocks. And once again, at this point I feel comfortable just going ahead and just droning, because I don't think another push is going to be coming. He knows that I have my third up now. And I am continuing my creep spread. I am being a lot more devoted to my creep spread now, because creep spread is just so incredibly important, and it will really allow me to do damage. So I'm still getting up more units and everything else. I am starting my infestation pit because I don't really like going the mass muta strategy. I think going mass mutas is a good idea, But against like a Terran who's smart, he's just going to put up missile turrets and he's going to get up like, with 2 Thors and just put them each in the mineral line, and then you won't really be able to do too much. So I like just having the about this many mutas. I like getting a couple more, maybe having about 15 or so mutas. And I like just using them in order to defend against drops. I like using them to help deal with tanks later on. I don't like getting a large number of them, just simply because they are so gas heavy. Now you do notice I do have Overlords in position to go ahead and scout if he is going to try and drop. He did actually send a unit over here to go ahead and take care of this Unlaga watchtower, and I do see him moving out with his Marines and his medevac. Now I don't want him to go ahead and do this, so I am going to send a whole bunch of units over here, kill the medevac, and then my speedlings will quite easily clean up this amount of Marines without too much difficulty. So he hasn't been trying to drop play, simply because it's just so difficult to do when I have the mutas out. I do have 3 bases fully saturated now. Actually, these are a little bit undersaturated. I guess I could have watched that just a little bit more closely during the game. I am missing a couple of spawn larva injects. I'm not the perfect player, but I do make mistakes. Still continue with my creep spread. He is actually taking his third. He is building a lot of missile turrets around because once again he's afraid of these mutas. And that's why I like getting this amount of mutas, because it forces the Terran to go ahead and build those missile turrets in order to deal with them. And if he doesn't build missile turrets, then when I actually do any harassment, he's just going to die. So I do see him pushing out again. I do see this force coming. I see what's going on. I realize I don't really have enough banelings just yet, so I am going to morph a lot of banelings just because he does have a lot more Marines with him this time. So I'm going to wait. I am going to start getting out infestors fairly soon, because I like making that infestor transition. And then now I'm going to wait. You don't want to attack a fortified Terran. You just don't, because he is going to constantly reinforce this push. What I want to wait for him to make a mistake. I want to wait for him to screw up, like if he ran too far onto my creep, or if he runs his Marines too far in order to deal with creep tumors. Because yes, I lose vision, but what lots of Terrans forget is that even after you kill the creep tumors, I'm still going to have creep there for a brief period of time, which is still going to give me that speed upgrade. So I'm just waiting for him to mess up. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm just waiting for my chance. I know I have the army to deal with it if I deal with it correctly. So he is running in his Marines, and he just got just a little bit too close. That's what I was waiting for. He just got a little bit too close. I am going to get a lot of these Marines surrounded. Just took out all those Marines, and now I have the mutas, the lings, and the banelings to deal with this army. And at this point, I am in a commanding lead. Now, as you can see or whatever, I actually am working on a 5th. I have my 4th going up. I have 5 infestors and more lings on the way. I could very easily, I already have my hive up, so I can go, I like getting it right after the infestation pit finishes, so I can very easily just transition into Ultralisks, and just, if you get Ling, Baneling, Infestor, Muta, Ultralisk out, I can pretty much deal with anything that Marine tank can pull at me. And then if he still is doing a very good job of keeping up with me, I can just go ahead and I can just get Broodlords out eventually as well. And honestly, once you get Broodlord, Ultra, Ling, Baneling, Infestor, Muta out, there's just nothing the Terran player can do against that. It's too gas heavy for the Zerg to deal, for the Zerg and everything, so we can't remax an army like that very easily, but it's just initially killing that army for the Terran can be incredibly difficult. He tells me that Zerg is a joke, and then he goes ahead and he leaves the game. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this real quick, just so you can kind of see when I got my mutas and when my transition is. I am going to open a patch, blah blah. I'm so sorry, guys. I wish they had like a times 16 button or something. That would make my life so much easier in order to fast forward through these. Now remember, in order to get to the fast muta strategy, it doesn't work on every map, so you need to be careful on that you can actually deal with any possible harassment that he's doing. So I already have 1 gas up. I am getting the 18 lings out to deal with his reactor Hellions. I'm actually going to start mining gas again. There really is no specific timing for Zerg. I think lots of Zerg make this mistake, and they think that, everything for Zerg needs to be timed. I need to get a Spire at this time. I need to get an Evo Chamber at this time. And I think lots of Zerg make errors when they do that, because I think the important part when your Zerg is to be flexible with all of your builds. You don't need to do everything right away. I don't need to have mutas at 7 minutes. I don't need to have mutas at 930 or anything like that. It's just adjusting your build for the situation. I deal with the Hellions. I am morphing them right away. I am grabbing a second and third, and I also am getting up a fourth gas. So basically, I'm just trying to get just full saturation, make sure I have enough minerals to deal with everything else. Spire goes up at about like the 10-minute mark, I'd say, probably more like 9:45, 9:30ish. Is generally when I like to get my Spire. I do like getting my Spire as I'm grabbing my third. This is the way I like it, and always remember to get Baneling speed before you get up before you start making mutas, simply because it allows me to deal with Marines and that initial Marine tank push. Now remember, when the Spire finishes, you want to get +1 on the attack and just pump out mutas. You want to get as many mutas as you can. So I just pumped out as many mutas as I could, which allowed me to deal with his push. Alright guys, this is Corpomany. I'm happy that you guys are watching my channel and everything. Please subscribe if you like my videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. You guys have a good one.